All right, guys. It's Aaron, and it is a ghost time edition of Aaron Gavvronsky's Lives. So we got to bring Dylan Lee into the chat. Dylan Lee grew up, and so it's time to hear some ghost stories. Dylan, where are you at, my friend? I know he's on the way in. What's up, Katerina? My dearest. Be right there. There he is. Bam, bam. Come on. Where is he? Request to join. Should be logging in any minute. Ghost time edition. Oh, did I not accept your request? Why is it not letting me accept you, Dylan? I promise you're accepted. This is very sad. All right, let me try it like this, Dylan. I'm going to invite you and try it like this. You just got invited. Does that work? Bam! We did it.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it was getting a little scary there just with that.
Yeah. What's up, man?
Log you in. Not too much. How you doing?
Doing well. Doing real well.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you and your family safe down in Florida.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're thriving right now, bro. Thriving. How's the lighting? Can you see my face? Can you see everything?
I can see you just fine. I'm in the car driving into DC, so.
Okay.
The lighting on. Maybe I can just put my light on. Yeah, we'll just do it like that.
Don't get pulled over by Popo.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right,
yeah,
so we were going back and forth earlier, and you mentioned you grew up in a haunted house, or you lived in a haunted house for a while. So what is this all about?
So what is that all about? Sorry, I just had to put my do not disturb on. Yeah, so grew up in a haunted house. Crazy, man. I'll preface this by saying I didn't believe in ghosts, right? I didn't believe in ghosts up until I moved into this home. Nikki Eiley joined. What's up, Nikki? I'm just sharing the story of how the house I grew up in was haunted.
Yeah.
But so family moved into this home towards the end of 8th grade, right? And this house was built in maybe according to the tax records, it was 1901. However, this house was in the 1800s, right?
Like the property itself was from the 1800s.
Right, but I think for tax purposes, it was 1901, right? But the old ass house.
Plenty of opportunity for ghosts to emerge on the scene here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So my house was the first Catholic church of Middletown, Maryland.
Oh.
It was the first high school of Middletown, Maryland. And it was also a daycare way back in the day.
Oh, my God.
So we would hear children, right, running through our halls. And mind you, the only kids in the house was me and my brother. That's it. And be 1 a.m., we'd hear kids just booking it through our halls. And we had wood paneling in the upstairs hallway. And it would sound like kids when they were running, they would have their fingers against the wood panel. So you hear ba 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 ba, as you'd hear these kids running. This one time my grandmother came to visit and we're telling her about the ghosts, and she's like, there's no such thing as ghosts, there's no such thing as ghosts. Well, I knew. I was like, well, shit, game on. All right, yeah, my wife just said, tell him about the drum set in the attic. I'll get to that one next.
Yeah.
So
you and your brother were hearing these noises.
Yes.
And were you asking your parents, Mom, Dad, there are ghosts in this house? What?
Yes.
Are you? And did they hear it too?
100%.
Okay, yeah.
100%. It was everyone was in on it. Oh shit. But it was a beautiful home, man. It was a beautiful home.
Sure.
But so what Lynn was telling about was just saying. So in high school, I was in a band. I played the drums, and my drum set was in the attic.
Yeah.
And so one time, my family and I were away on vacation, and I get a text from my neighbor asking me to stop playing. I was like,
Oh,
"What?"
oh,
Yeah,
ooh.
and she's like, "You've been playing the drums like for like the past, I don't know, maybe like the past like 30 minutes or so. You know, so like,
Un-
you gotta fucking cut it out." I was like, Emily, I think I was in Mexico at the time. I was like, I'm in Mexico with my family. There's nobody at my house. And she said that there was a light on in our attic, and she could hear like cymbals and drums and bash, bash, ba, ba, bow.
Whoa.
Nuts, man.
You guys had like
Nuts.
children ghosts taking over the house.
We had something. We really had something going on. What's
Wow.
crazy is like since living there, like I said before, I never believed in ghosts, but since
Yeah.
then, I
Yeah,
am
your perspective on that completely changed.
Annie, what's up? Yeah, totally changed. Um, and I've actually, it's weird, unfortunately, I guess I've been able to like kind of like sense when ghosts are around.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
and
really? So you developed a bit of a sixth sense.
as weird as it sounds, man,
Sure,
yeah,
sure. Yeah, the skeptic in me is like, what a weirdo. But you're saying, but like, yeah, there's something to it.
it's it's like if I had the choice, like hell no, like, I'd rather not be able to sense these. Like
Right.
fuck that. No, I don't care for
So
that.
how often did your ghost meter go off in DC, and has it gone off in Florida?
So it hasn't gone off in Florida.
Okay.
Selling homes in DC, yes, it has. So I've shown
Wow.
homes that are haunted. Well, that I think are haunted.
Yeah.
A couple pretty scary stories. One, and so I'd have clients they like maybe half jokingly would bring up like, well, tell me if the house is haunted, and I'm like, well, I will. But like if they don't bring anything up, I'm not gonna say anything, because what if I'm
Sure,
wrong?
sure.
What if I'm wrong? What if I'm just being like a little sketch ball, right? A little
Yeah, yeah,
paranoid.
yeah.
So this one house in Rockville, I went to go see, and as soon as I walked in, I was like, man, something is amiss. Like something is
Something's
fucked
off.
up here.
Yeah.
And I usually would start in the basements, right? So in Florida, we don't have basements, but up north, we'd have basements, and I'd always start in the basement because if the basement's all sorts of messed up and the foundation's looking all janky, the rest of the house is probably pretty janky as well.
Sure, sure.
So for whatever reason, my client was like, Dylan, let's start upstairs. And I was getting this feeling of like something or someone telling me, don't go in the basement. Don't
Wow.
come down here. Do not come down here.
No
And
way. Like,
dude,
yeah.
I was getting chills all over my body. And so I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's start upstairs. Let's do that. Let's
Wow.
start upstairs. So we go upstairs. We're walking around. It was a weird, but every room just felt very odd. And she didn't like the home. So we wrap up upstairs and we're kind of walking around on the main level. She goes, Dylan, we didn't look in the basement. I know we usually start down there. Do you want to go down? So I said, you know what? You don't like the home. It doesn't fit with what you're looking for. Let's just get out of here. Right? Let's just get out of here. She's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Let's leave. And so as we were doing our property tour, I was turning off the lights after us so that I wouldn't have to walk through that house by myself
Freaking
to
do it
turn the
alone.
lights off. I didn't like in this house, dude, as like weird as it sounds, I didn't want to be alone. Um,
Sure.
and I just got that feeling, and it was odd. And I would the same exact experience I'd have like in the house I grew up in. Like, so if like crazy shit was going on, it would feel as if like you're getting like a static charge throughout your body. The moment
Mm,
I'd walk outside, it'd go away.
unbelievable.
Right? It
So
it, it would
somewhere
go
in your
away.
spirit is like you're just kind of tuned into that sort of stuff
Yeah, I wish that wasn't the case,
more
but yeah,
than maybe a typical person is, because you had
yeah.
all the exposure to whatever it is that
I
goes
guess so,
it up on
man.
some negative
I
charge of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. An in-law. I was talking to an in-law of mine about this, and she goes, "Well, I like to think of it as there's good ghosts, there's bad ghosts,
Sure. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
I've heard the
and
same. Same
yeah,
thing.
but like in my experience though, I'll tell you, man, like I'm just limited to my experiences here. In my experience, I've never experienced like a good encounter. It's either neutral or just like bad. Like
Mm,
get the fuck out. Get the
mm.
fuck out.
Yeah, it's not like ghosts have much opportunity to do good. I don't know if anybody comes home to a cleaner house, you know,
Right.
but like like the dishes are done.
Right. No,
They're
man.
either
Casper's
doing
always fucking
good
shit
stuff
up.
or they're doing evil stuff. Like they're never like
Right.
setting things straight. That's very
Right. Yeah, they do not make the bed.
no.
No. They
I would
don't
buy
make the
that
bed.
house if there was a ghost that like doubled as a cleaning service.
Yeah.
That, but we haven't, we haven't made
Yeah.
contact.
Oh yeah. Oh
Interesting,
yeah.
man. That's amazing. That's amazing. So
So my wife is blowing me up right now.
yeah,
She just
slept in
posted he
on our
slept
wedding.
in his car on our wedding eve because he rented out a
No way,
haunted.
that is true.
It's true, dude.
Linda
That's
May
true.
true. Whoa,
It's very, very true. So the
I can
house I
believe
ended
it.
up
Frederick.
renting out, yeah,
Yeah,
in Frederick, Maryland, ended up being haunted, our Airbnb. As
unreal.
soon as I walked in, like as soon as I walked in the house, bro, I just had that feeling. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, "Are you kidding me? Like this is where I'm staying like before my wedding. Like this is the
Oh
house
my.
I chose."
When did you guys
You
get married?
know, 2018, November 2018.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, dude. So I just heard, I would like hear like people and like my friends were downstairs, right? I was trying to get a little rest and my friends were downstairs and like, it
Yeah.
wasn't my friends. I would just like hear and feel people walking around the bedroom I was sleeping in, just like around the room, like walking around my bed and up and down the hall, up to the upstairs. And it was an old house in downtown Frederick. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it's historic downtown Frederick. These homes are all built like before the Civil War. Um,
Right.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Frederick's a low key historical spot.
a
Like
lot
so
of
many stories out there. Like you would think it's a boring place, but there's a
lot of
lot.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lot of history in Frederick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the one of a real crazy story. Um, I was house sitting in Jefferson, Maryland, which is in between Frederick and Middletown.
Uh huh.
And these guys that are family friends, and they'd usually have their niece, Winnie was her name. Winnie would usually dog sit for them and house sit, but for I would find out why later. But for whatever reason, Winnie was unavailable, and so they asked me. And they paid me like a few $100, this gorgeous home, right? And they're like, "Hey, you
Yeah.
can have people over, you can have parties if you want. Just make sure our dogs don't get out and whatnot." And so their house was full of like trinkets and knickknacks and but these trinkets were expensive as shit, and I didn't want to be responsible for it because I had dumb friends. And so I was like, all right, I appreciate it, but I'm just going to take your money and I'll watch your house.
Yeah.
So the first night, right, I'm walking up the steps, pop, up, to go to bed, pop,
Yeah.
pop, 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 and I get to the top two or three steps, and I'd feel like chills up and down my spine, and just goosebumps all over. So like, huh. So I run into bed real quick. I was staying in the guest room. So I run to the guest room real quick, turn the TV on nice and loud. Dogs hopped into bed with me and I fall asleep. All right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The next night, again, I was going up to bed. Like once I get to the top two or three steps, I'd feel like chills up and down my spine again.
Oh
Like,
my God.
fuck. So I jump into my
I
bed real
would not
quick.
be able to handle.
Again, boom, TV, all that shit. The third night, it happens again. Right. The fourth night, this was the last night, I'm getting like maybe like a little like pent up anger that I'm
Yeah.
having to deal with this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm taking my time going up the steps, and I get to the top two or three steps, and again, like just chills up and down my spine. And you know what? F this. I'm not gonna be afraid of whatever. Like it's in my head. This is in my head. So instead of running into my bed in the guest room, I start walking. So once I get into the guest room and I'm walking in, every time I'd like pick up my leg, I would hear like a group of girls, right? A group of girls laughing. And once I'd have like my foot down, it'd stop. Every time I would like just go to take a step, I just hear girls, but like off in the distance, right? There was like off in the
Mm.
distance.
Like
So I'm looking
this,
around.
this is like outside the house.
It sounded like it could have been, but like I'm like, okay, I left the window open. Maybe there's something going on. But like these homes up on Braddock Heights, like they're separated, right? It's not like they're one
Hmm.
on top of the other. They're like, like each home sits on at least like a third of an acre.
Yeah.
And so none of the windows are open. I'm like, okay, did I leave a TV on somewhere, a radio? Like, what is going on? And so, like, every single time I'd take that step, I would hear like these girls just laughing. And so I finally hop into bed, turn the TV on. I'm kind of freaked out, a little confused, also a little angry that I'm just like letting these like
Yeah, like you can't be at
whatever,
peace. You
like
can't relax.
you can't relax.
Like
And
something we would
so
completely take for granted. You're literally being haunted. You're literally being like harassed by forces you
harassed,
have zero leverage on. Like
no
you can't
leverage,
do anything.
at their whim. And
Yeah.
so I told the owners, Greg and Kirk, I told them the story. I was like, hey, because they asked me, like, well, how are the dogs? Like, yeah, well, Chester got out one day. I had to, chase his ass back. Little pugs, right? Fast little pugs. I was like, yeah, I had to bring him back, but it's like something weird would happen at night. And they just both kind of look at each other and like, okay, what would happen? So I told them, and then they say, well, there's a reason why Winnie won't dog sit for us anymore. It's like,
No.
I was like, okay, well, spill the beans. Why won't Winnie dog sit? She also had experiences in the house.
Right.
Greg and Kirk also had experiences in that house. As it turns out, there in this house, there used to be a family, and it was husband, wife, and I think like what 5 or 6 girls that they had.
Yeah.
There was one girl that was like the black sheep of the family, and
Oh.
and all the girls would make fun of her. This girl hung herself outside of the window in the room I was sleeping
Holy crap.
in. Yeah, dude.
Holy crap. That's so creepy, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, did they pay you extra?
No. I did not get extra.
Oh no.
I did not get hazard pay. Yeah,
Right.
man.
Now, yeah, now you gotta live with that story.
I mean, I've got wild ghost stories like like, you're familiar with Ouija boards?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So here's a pro tip for you. Never use a Ouija board.
Yeah, I've kind of like my upbringing was like, you know, I was raised like Jewish, sort of like went to Orthodox circles,
Yeah.
and they would always say like what I learned was when it comes to the world of like the dark realm, it's like there's no answers on it. The mode of action is don't
Don't.
interact, don't go there, don't play those games,
Do not.
don't just no, no. And so an Ouija board was like one of those things where it was like if you were to ask a rabbi, the rabbi would tell you no, you have no business doing that. It's like yeah.
So I have a Ouija board story, and I kind of blame my mom for this a little bit. So in high school, obviously word got around that I lived in a haunted house. Like I'd have doors open and shut, right, when I'd have friends over. And so yeah, word got around that I lived in a haunted house. So a bunch of my buddies from the wrestling team, they came over, and my mom, agreed to have everyone over, stay the night, and we would do a Ouija board. And so a bunch of us stayed out, and there's only I know they're not watching right now, but who was over? Matt Maddox, Sean Regan, if you're watching. I don't know if Mike Schlepp was over. Brian Pope, his parents wouldn't allow him to come over. They made the right call. I think like Dan McCallie and all these cats on my wrestling team, were over. And my mom sits us down. We have the Ouija board. She sits us down. Excuse me. She goes, I have to live here. And so you're not going to invite any evil spirits into the house, and only white light and only white spirits, and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm in high school. So I was like, yeah, okay, sure, 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 And, we pulled out the Ouija board, and we were pretty innocent about it. I think my mom kind of struck like the fear of God in us. Um, and so, we were asking questions, and it's moving around, but like, are we moving it around? Right? Like which one of us is moving the little glass piece? Well,
Yeah.
um, I asked the question because I knew the answer had to be yes. Right? I was like,
Mm-hmm.
are there any child spirits in the house? And it starts moving towards yes. And so I take my hand off of it, real quick. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone else takes their hand off of it except for Mitch Hauk. So Mitch Hauk, his hand is still on it and it's still moving towards yes. We all look at Mitch like, F you, dude. Like it's been you. All the
Yeah.
color in his face just like goes. He takes his hand off of it, and that little glass piece, the little like magnifying glass, is
Yeah.
moving by itself. Like
Holy crap.
to yes. And so that is when like half the people that were over just left my house.
No.
They left. They left, dude.
Oh my
I'd
gosh.
leave too. If it wasn't my house, I'd leave,
Right.
bro.
Yeah. Like I have no business being here. I am getting
Yeah,
out of here.
yeah, man.
Crazy.
But yeah, and
Right.
actually with I've always believed in God growing up, but it
Sure.
wasn't like until like really those experiences that
You started
like
to have like the fear of God, like don't.
yeah, yeah, like God is real. Like if this evil exists,
Mm-hmm.
that we've been like kind of told about not to mess with,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say prayers to like almost like kind of cleanse a room or to like okay like get
Yeah.
get better. I'd say them audibly in my house, especially if I
Mm-hmm.
was like alone. I'd say them audibly,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of you know
Set
chill it
set the
out.
record straight. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or
Praise the
sometimes I'd
Lord.
have to leave the room or leave the
Sure.
house. I mean,
Yeah. Man, that's nuts, dude. That's
yeah,
yeah. I love this. I love this. Thanks so much for doing this, dude. This was awesome.
dude, absolutely,
And
man.
yo, while it's Halloween, we could probably do it again tomorrow and
We
put a
can
couple more stories out. I think this is
absolutely.
yeah.
Can
All right.
we?
Well,
Is it
mhm.
cool? Maybe next time, I'll see if I can get my YouTube live or my YouTube streaming,
Sure.
and if
Yeah.
we
Let's
can
do it.
find a
Let's do
way
it tomorrow.
to both, get on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously that'd be the best way. We can both do it.
100%.
But yeah, man, this is awesome. Thanks a lot for having me on, and
No
more
doubt.
ghost stories
No
to
doubt.
come.
100%. Let's do it. Let's do it, man. Happy Halloween.
Hey, man,
Uh,
likewise.
yeah. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right,
Cheers.
see you.